The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Dr. Vic, and you are listening to the Mindful Experiment. This is your one and only. Every time we have, once a week, we do a podcast where I'll share some insights, concepts, ideas, and so forth that may have come to me in conversation, meditation, inspiration, one of the Asians of any sort, but it's coming at you, with you, to share with you, to inspire you, to empower you to really go from blue to true, from, I don't know, I'm running out of rhymes here, but it's one of those things where it's designed to create some inspiration. And this week, a lot of things shot out at me in conversations and my coaching with my clients and other things that I do, where we talked a lot about authenticity, right? Authenticity, owning something. That I think we live in a world today where there are a lot of people out there who think they're experts. There are a lot of people out there who think they know it all. There are a lot of people out there who think that's because they heard something on a tape, a video, a book, they've become an expert at it. But in truth and reality, owning something is a whole different ballgame. Owning something becomes like you're a master at it. You've taken the time to do your due diligence with research. You've done your due diligence with knowledge, information. And then on top of that, you used experience to apply to help you grasp the material even better, to understand it at a deeper level. I've heard time and time again, many different individuals talk about different things when it comes to their life. In the self-help and the personal development world, there are a lot of times people will use, what people will use things like copywriting things, right? They take an idea, they make it theirs, or they just copy it and claim like it's theirs. Or I've heard someone say before, like I've heard a couple times actually, where things along the lines of like, oh, a good idea is a stolen idea. And I've heard people say, borrow an idea and make it yours, and all these different things. And I've seen people do it. I've seen this happen many times in different arenas. I've listened to a lot of different speakers. I've read a lot of different books. I've listened to a lot of different videos. And I continually do to learn. But it's funny how I'll see where people took an idea and tried to make it their own. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. I really believe in understanding the depths of things and understanding when you are going to learn and take something that you want to make it your own. And that's where the authenticity comes from. So the thing I'm trying to make a point of is when it comes to your life, don't borrow and just go with it. Make it yours. Because the problem of what happens is when you go ahead and just continue to move forward, when you go ahead and just take something and go with it and don't really understand the depth of it, when you just copy things, you lose authenticity. You lose authenticity with yourself. And this is from a spiritual aspect is where I want to go with this. Because in reality, the Pauli Exclusion Principle states that there are no two things that are alike in the universe. And from that principle, if you just copy somebody and go and do what they're saying, and that's what you do, and you cared about just being successful, and that makes you successful, that's great, but you're not shining your light. And what ends up happening is when you do something like that, you lose out on empowerment, you lose out on inspiration, you lose out on fulfillment. Now, some of you may say, Doc, I took an idea and I made millions off it. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But where's your voice? Where's your light? Where's your soul being expressed to the world? How are you making that you? That's the question you got to ask yourself. That's how you got to get real with yourself and be true. Because today, in today's world, we have so many individuals trying to be that one-hit wonder. What's the one thing that's going to blow me up? What's the one special saying? What's the cool thing in the group? What's the cool thing that's being told? And nothing against that. And I hope you guys don't think I'm bashing these things, because I'm not. Trust me, it's not where my intention is with everything. But the purpose of it all is that we're trying to figure out how to be a one-hit wonder, then learn to be a legend. Right? We're trying to be a one-hit wonder, or maybe even a short-term success, right? Get that quick blow up. Then truly focusing on how can I grind out and do the work consistently every single day and truly become that legend that exists through all time, right? Michael Jackson's music still kills it, right? He's been gone for how long? Still, his music, when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this is a jam. The Beatles. Still to this day, people listen to the Beatles. It's a classic that never goes away, right? Too much time in this world today, we're trying to be that one-hit wonder. We don't care if, longevity to a certain degree. And I don't think that people don't care to be long-term in success, but their actions, what they do, how they read and follow, right? We're always looking for the next new thing. Who's the cool person on the block that we want to learn from, right? What's the cool new thing to do? We're all in our head, and that's short-term learning, that's short-term growth, that we're not really taking time to really go deeper within and really grasp something that's going to be more you. I have nothing against learning from others and making it your own. I think that's how it should be. I think that's how you make your own mark. As a chiropractor, this is something I learned a long time ago. How do you, a lot of chiropractors, they practice a blend of a technique for the most part. And that blend of technique is techniques that they put together. Then they've made their own little touch on it. I did that when I first came out also. And so it's all the things that I've learned, how I share things. It came from others to inspire me. That's how we evolve as humans. There's nothing against that. But when we take something that isn't ours and we make it our own, we just continue to preach that, you lose out on that true source of light of who you are. And from there, you'll never reach these high levels of inspiration and fulfillment that we are designed as human beings, as actually spiritual beings, to experience from the human world. And so when it comes to your purpose and how to really focus, take things, but learn to make it yours. A nice analogy I can share with you is that I'll give you flour, you'll have water, oil, salt, whatever it is, right? The same raw materials. The key thing is, what are you going to make with that? And how are you going to put your own touch to it? That, my friends, is what takes to change. And you can do this in any aspect of your life. This can be business. This can be personal. This can be in relationships. This can be in spiritual, physical, anything. You can apply this rule to all things. Take ideas, take them within, learn from them, take time from them, grasp from them. Because when you really get the opportunity to take a moment and really own something, you've taken the time, the experiences to own it, your credibility will go through the roof. Your credibility will skyrocket it. Your credibility, your inspiration and fulfillment, when you make it yours and share it with the world, those are the game changers. Those are the classics that'll never go away. Like a Michael Jordan, right? The Michael Jackson, the Beatles, just to name a few. Rolling Stones, for those who like Rolling Stones. It's individuals' music, individual beings who transcend. It's like a Tony Robbins. Right? It's been doing his biz for how long now? Those are the greats. And my belief system, based on also the knowledge and experiences of what I've seen in the world, is when you take things and you own it and you make it your own, that's when you go from good to great. That's when you start to share things, to take things to that next level. So I challenge you to take some time with your life and look at what you're doing and see if are you just being robotic? Are you taking someone's info and just reapplying it, redistributing it? Or are you taking someone's info and figuring out how to make it your own? and actually owning it and sharing it to where you do own it. You do make it your own. It has your own touch. It has your own light. It has your own expression to it. That, my friends, is a game changer. And that's from taking your life from a short-term perspective of success to becoming a classic long-term success. It's what transforms everything. And individuals who I work with on a one-on-one in my coaching program that I have, I do one-on-one coaching, some of my group coaching that I do with my clients that I work with. This is one of the biggest things is what we start off working on immediately is figuring out how are you going to be that classic? How are you going to be different? What is it that you want to share, right? It's not about mentally trying to figure out how to be different, because mentally it's a chasing game that you'll just never end up winning, because eventually there'll be always someone who will outsmart you there. But when you tap into a different source, return to source energy, and you go from there, remember, there are, in the Pauli Exclusion Principle, there are no two things that are alike. So if I can tap you in, teach you how to share with you and implement how you can tap into your source, now what you do from there will be your own mark. And no matter what you learn, what you take will help you improve where you are and where you want to go in your life. And from there, it will create inspiration. It will create fulfillment. And then that point, you will start to live a life where you shine more of your light and you express it upon the world, which is so much needed to help express and change and help evolve all humans that are part of this experiment called the human being experiment, to allow us to all evolve together and give us the opportunity to do the same of what you did. That's the power of doing this. That's the power of stepping into authenticity. That's the power of when you go ahead and express your truth and what matters to you. Because I sit back and I see how so many different speakers and so many different individuals copy things because it's cool, because it's because it's this. And then they become experts on it, which they haven't even done enough work to even get to a mastery level. And I truly believe that to be at a level to where you can be extremely, I'm not saying you can't help people when you learn something. That's you got to teach in order to, but there's different stages of learning. One, you learn something and you to do repetition until you get it. But then to take your learning to a whole nother level, you teach it. So I have nothing against people who try to do that. But what I'm trying to say is you want to make it your own. Like when I first started out in chiropractic, I knew a lot of different techniques, probably over 25. And what happened was I was like, man, so many techniques. I can go so many different ways. But I was like, how can I make this my own? How can I make it unique? How can I put my own little stamp of approval on it? Right. And I did that. And now I've changed my way I practice with my techniques throughout the years. But I still have my own stamp of approval on it because I want it to be me. It's a little bit more of who I am and what I do. Not saying that the way I do something is better than some other chiropractor. It's not true. But I am the best at what I do. And so when I make it my own, I become the best at what I do. And so that's the kind of concept. How do you make your own craft to be unique to you? Something to think about. I challenge you to dive down that path. Do an inventory on your life. See what it is that you really feel like you're just kind of copying and pasting in a sense of learning. You learned something. You heard it was great. Okay, I'm going to use that word. I'm going to use that phrase. I'm going to use that whole thing. And you use it. And yeah, people are kind of impressed with it. But there's something about being in tune and authentic with it and owning it. Because when you come from that vibration, it's a game changer. Then all of a sudden people look at you and you go, this guy or this girl definitely knows her stuff. You can tell they come from a very place of power. And that's my goal of what I want to help people with. So any questions you guys have on this, please shoot me an email, drvic@empoweryourreality.com. I am always here to help. Come check us out on Facebook. We have an Empowered Living with Dr. Vic. That is my private Facebook group I have. All you have to do is go subscribe, asked to be a member, fill out a couple of questions just so I can kind of get a gauge of where people are. And then come join. It's awesome. We kind of share concepts and topics on here. I try to do 3 to 5 a week. And so sometimes you'll get my podcast that'll be released on there. Sometimes I'll do a little private Facebook Live video on there. Little concepts just to help feed into that. And we're going to be starting to launch a little bit more into this as we get some systems in place to help us support that even more. So definitely jump on board. If you're interested in any type of, or seeing if you want to even be a client of working with us, you can go ahead and just shoot us an email at drvic@empowerreality.com and just say, hey, I'm interested in setting up a consult to see how this can, you may be able to help. Because, some people, they struggle. Some people can't find that fulfillment, or you're hitting a wall, or you're not hitting success, or you're hitting success, but you're not feeling fulfilled, or you don't have a vision, or you can't explain your vision in 30 to 60 seconds. There's so many things that we do, but it's one of those things that getting back to the source and the principle of getting you connected, and then working with you to maintain that connection with consistency, creating accountability and action steps along the way so that you can be back on steering the ship of where you want to go with your life. So if you're interested, shoot us a message. Say, hey, I want to set up some coaching, and we'd be more than happy to do that. As always, guys, appreciate you being a listener. Please take a moment, shoot a little review on iTunes, what you guys think of the podcast, or Podbean, or CastBox, or iHeartRadio, or Spotify, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening from. Let us know what you think. Shoot us a review. It really helps us out. Again, we're doing some big things here at the Mindful Experiment, and we're taking things to even a deeper level to try to create better content, to find different individuals who can really bring something to the table that's unique. So if you have someone who you may be wanting to have be interviewed, let us know. And if you have any topics that you'd love to have discussed, let us know. drvic@empowerreality.com. Appreciate you being on. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep rocking and rolling. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.